can you really land a fully remote job from anywhere, even if the company is on the other side of the world? Well, the answer is yes. I've done it 3 times. So in today's video, I'll share with you how you can do it too. So if you're craving the freedom to work from anywhere in the world, this video is for you. By the end of this video, you'll feel inspired, motivated, and ready to work from anywhere in the world with your remote job. So let's get started. First, I'll explain the 2 types of fully remote jobs. Yes, trust me, not all remote jobs are the same. Next, I'll walk you through my own experiences of landing 2 remote jobs, including the challenges and how I tackle them. Last but not least, I'm going to share with you some practical tips so you can increase your chances of landing your dream remote job. Let's dive into 2 types of remote jobs you can find. The first type is remote jobs with location restrictions. Companies only hire from specific regions like the US, Canada, or Europe, usually because of the company structure, regulations, and payroll. But if a job posting says they are only hiring in certain locations and you're not authorized to work there, it's probably best not to prioritize those opportunities. But if the job really fits your profile, yes, sure, go ahead. However, I recommend reaching out to the company to ask if they would be open to hiring you as an independent contractor instead of a full-time employee, which they might not be able to because of the regulations and stuff like that, as I mentioned earlier. If you are legally authorized to work in the locations where companies hire, but you're currently living in a different location, you can absolutely apply for these roles as long as you can work within the required time zone. Now, the second type is fully remote jobs with flexible location requirements. These companies may prefer certain time zones, but they don't care where you work from. Some companies have fully distributed teams with employees across different countries. Others may have physical offices, but they offer certain roles as fully remote. And depending on the company and the role, you may be able to work from any time zone if the team works asynchronously, but some roles do require specific time zones. Now we've covered the 2 types of remote jobs. Let me tell you a bit about how I actually landed remote jobs. Just a bit about my career background. I used to work in tech sales. I worked for large tech companies such as SAP, but also worked for fast-growing startups with 50 employees to with over 500 employees. The first remote job I got was when I was in the Netherlands. I got a remote job with a US-based company. They had registered their business in the Netherlands. However, they did not have a physical office location in the Netherlands. So I had no choice but to work fully remotely from home. Since I was handling the European market, I had to be based in the Netherlands, or at least in the European region, which means I couldn't just pick up my bag and move to Asia or the US. But I still have the flexibility to travel within the European regions, like working from Portugal for a bit. But primarily, I needed to be in the Netherlands. This is a good example of the first type of remote job where companies only hire someone in a specific region, even if it's a fully remote role. One thing that I learned from this experience is that companies do not offer this kind of arrangement to everyone. For these types of companies, when they hire employees fully remotely, since it's not their usual common practice, they want to see that you've worked remotely before or want to see that you're self-motivated and that you can manage your work independently without being micromanaged. So showing you're reliable and experienced with some sort of remote work or working with teams in different time zones really matters. The second and third remote jobs that I got were a bit different. I was hired as an independent contractor for both. Now, being an independent contractor means you are not a permanent employee. You can work full-time or part-time, but you do not get benefits like health insurance. Contract is usually for a set period, like 6 months, 9 months, a year, or something like that. It might get renewed depending on the company's needs. In both cases, I was hired by companies that did not even post these jobs online. One was US-based company and the other was European-based company. I actually got both opportunities through my network. This experience taught me again how personal branding is important when getting a fully remote job. They wanted to expand into regions that I had experience in. Since I was focused on the Asian market and most of my work was online, I did not have to be physically based in certain countries. or in Asia, unless there were client meetings or conferences, which did not happen often. I remember doing this job in Asia and Canada. When I was in Canada, the time zone difference was tough. I had to work until 2 a.m. sometimes, which was really exhausting. So in this kind of arrangement, work is remote and flexible in terms of location. However, there is a time zone restrictions. Now, if you're trying to get a remote job, I want to share a few tips. So first one, do not only rely on job boards, especially for the second type of remote jobs. These roles often are not posted publicly online, so networking and being visible can go a long way. Second, invest in your personal branding. Think about what makes you stand out, your strengths, your specialty, and what kind of roles you're best suited for. And make sure your LinkedIn clearly reflect your work experience, skills, types of roles you're looking for. The more clear your value is, the easier it is for the right opportunities to find you. Last but not least, number 3, be mindful of a location requirement. If a company clearly states that only hiring specific countries and you're not authorized to work there, probably not worth your time. Or at least I wouldn't recommend prioritizing those job opportunities because many job applications filter candidates based on work eligibility, so recruiters may not even see your profile. That said, if a role truly aligns with your experience and your career background, it's worth reaching out to the company directly to ask if they would be open to hiring you as an independent contractor. So this is it for today's video. I would love to hear from you. So comment below and share your experience of finding your remote job. And don't forget to subscribe to this channel and connect with me on LinkedIn. I'm quite active on LinkedIn as well. I'll see you in the next video. Bye.